It is open, my friends. Battles have yet to begin. Laughter we had in gales and floods, but if not, at least there will be blood. The sorrow and loss may abound. We'll do our best to hold this hallowed ground.
Hello, everyone. We're just doing Q&A today. We're relaxed. You see those names that everyone's got? I'm actually sitting down right now. That's why the camera angle's different. Well, those names, those are all for the campaign that we just did, but we're actually going to be talking about two of the campaigns today. One of them being Teffie's journey as well. So I did ask these lot to have whatever kinds of questions they have as well, but they all, most of them, have the memory of goldfish. That one in particular. You get away. You're pretty intuitive. You know what? Yeah, you're out of that one.
Well, no, I injured myself last week. Okay, my mind has been in other places. All right. I was convinced we were doing D&D today.
No, that's soon. We'll be getting back into it soon. I think I'm nearly done with
Are we doing Teffie's first?
Yes, let's do Teffie's first. And I've got a generic question that could warm us all up into it, which is the delightful, who is your favorite NPC?
Ooh,
there weren't that many inside that one.
Probably those two bugmen that we helped out.
Oh yeah, the bug dudes, yeah.
The bugmen.
I believe they're called Nork.
Bugmen.
They are called Nork.
One word, bugmen.
That could be their new last name.
Nork Bugman.
I don't even remember what their names were.
Neither do I. I don't even know if we asked, to be honest.
I don't know if you did either.
I liked Rupert.
Yeah, I was going to say Rupert was my favorite.
Immortal zombie.
He's
Which I guess are zombies are typically immortal?
Oh,
no.
Redundant.
He was like the butler guy. He was the Alfred of the Knowing Is Not, right?
That's what it seemed like.
Sure.
Ah, okay. Yeah, he was pretty chill. He was very chill.
And he let us get in after you slobbered on the door, so that was cool of him.
Look, man, there was no other way in. No, none of you had any better ideas.
Admittedly, true. But I'm just surprised we got to that one as fast as we did.
You're surprised that I jumped to licking a stone object?
I'm not surprised at all. I thought about it for a good 30 seconds before Tangent did it. I was like, am I about to lick this door? And then she went ahead and did it. And I was like, okay, we shall see.
And it worked. It's not a bad idea if it works.
I mean, technically, I guess it worked.
I think it still can be a bad idea if it works, but it's cool of Rupert to see that and let us in, perhaps out of pity. But Rupert was cool. That's to say.
As they say.
Rupert's fun. I enjoy him. He's a good one. Just realizing, Stitch, is your microphone okay?
I think so now.
Ah, okay. Sweet.
It was messing up when I first logged in, but I got it fixed.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I'm going to say that my favorite NPC was Rupert. I think the general consensus is he was chill. He was a chill guy.
He was just there for
Okay.
parts. That's all he needed.
Parts?
Yeah. He needed new bones.
Yeah, body parts.
Oh.
That
Did
was
you get new
inside
bones
the-
in the knowing's notch?
He got a lot, yeah. From
Oh.
all the dead priests and priestesses and clerics and such.
Oh,
Cleaned it up
okay.
too. Very nice guy. Very polite.
Not an ad, but
Not an
welcome.
ad at all.
Not an ad.
This is
But if you want to, Sapporo, hit us up.
Oh, I might have to bleep out that name. He's definitely
they're
not
fine.
drinking booze, YouTube. That's
Definitely
100% not happening.
Definitely not Japanese booze. Bottled in America.
Hard truth. Yeah. Well, there we go.
Our Sapporo isn't actually Sapporo, ladies and gentlemen.
Nope. We have that first question. There you go. I've opened it up. The rest of you, go for it.
Well, one thing that really ground my gears, I don't know that it's a question necessarily. Maybe I can phrase it as a question. The Pathfinder was the guy who got pneumonia. Just rolled horribly in that blizzard a gazillion times in a row. About died. Had to have
Oh, yeah.
Draken carry me in a sling.
That's right. You nearly died.
I
at
didn't realize
every
it was
turn.
pneumonia. I thought it was hypothermia.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay.
Didn't have a
Six in
title.
one hand, half
You
done.
got liquid in your lungs. Poor
Yeah,
little
you know,
owl friend.
I got the frozen in my owl bones, and yeah, and it's just like it feels like somebody whose job it is to do that couldn't fail such a role.
There
But
are plenty of people who are bad at their jobs.
Unfortunately.
that's true. That's a good point.
There
There are some
there
people
might have
bad at
been a
their jobs.
reason he was at the bottom of the list.
That's an excellent point as well. I didn't consider.
But now he's at the
Uh,
top of the list.
Yeah.
I
Close
think.
to.
Second
Almost.
on the list. I
Second
think
to
the
top.
General guy is still first.
Yep.
But
I was using him as a walking stick to get through
No,
the snow.
Teffie is first on the list.
well,
On
there's
the
like
list of who we
the
cared
official
about.
list.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Teffie is not a Pathfinder, so she can't be on the list.
I'm gonna make my own list.
Feel free.
With
blackjack
blackjack
and
and-
hookers.
yeah.
What?
With
It's
blackjack
a
and
It's a movie
Futurama.
reference.
Oh, I heard that.
Futurama.
Oh, okay. I'm aware of that show
Mhm.
mildly.
Bender.
So I guess the
Teffie's
question is,
list. I need to put the disclaimer out there. Teffie's list does not have blackjack nor hookers.
good knowledge.
Good to know. Which is
Yeah.
Fine, I'll open my own Las Vegas with blackjack and hookers.
So I guess the question is there a situation where somebody is so good at something that they shouldn't be able to fail, even with a natty 1?
No.
Thoughts? No?
no.
You don't think so?
Nope. Nothing is
Everyone
perfect.
has their bad days.
Yeah.
Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days.
Even a master carpenter could mess up royally on days. So that's part of
And
also
then get
why.
his head
Last
chopped off
price.
because,
Yeah. So yeah, no, that would be mine. Is absolutely not. There should always be the occasion for failure.
I'm glad nobody heard that joke. Probably.
No, I
it's
heard it.
Probably good that I hope that
I
Didn't
heard
hear it.
does not go through.
It probably did. I'll
That'll
catch
be
it later.
A good little one for you later.
I'll just hear random laughing one day.
Does everybody else
Even the best
do it the
carpenter,
same?
I just had to. You said the best. I had to. Sorry.
Back to point. What is
Yeah,
everyone
how you wanna
else's
put
thoughts
it.
on that?
As a player or as a GM? As a player, I believe that there should be times when you can't fail on something. As a GM, I believe that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
you're a
It's
hypocrite.
one of those things
Of course.
I think it's one of those things of it is fair at the end of the day. Like it is to play nat ones as critical fails and nat 20s as successes. Then it's just fair, in my opinion. Then you have a 1 in 20%, you have a 1 in 20 chance to completely fail and fall on your face, or succeed in such a miraculous way as if the hand of God themselves came down and guided your actions.
So
So,
another way of seeing that as well, Peter, is if we didn't do the nat 1 critical fail, nat 20 as critical success, we would just be in the same seat as Brolog, with never being able to pass a single charisma roll ever.
Yeah.
Like
Wisdom
we
was
would-
the one that got me all
wisdom
the
on
time,
that
yeah.
one. We'd have to acknowledge that there's also the situation where you're never going to succeed in that as well. And as a player, that just feels bad. It feels gross. You don't want that.
It does.
You want it to be different. So in a GM seat, if there's a situation where a player's never going to fail in it, our first instinct is going to be, well, I'm just never going to put them in that situation then. And then you're just automatically negating a huge boon and trait that one of the players worked hard to get to that point and just never experiences, because the GM is never going to succeed in that situation. There has to be like a little balance between the two, and the natural 1 as an automatic failure and the natural 20 as an automatic success really helps bring it all together. So now, even if one of you is really good at something, I could still throw you in that situation because there's always the chance you're going to fail, and it would be spectacular.
yeah.
True.
And it makes sure that, like, if you have a character that has like a +10 to hit or whatever it is, there's still a pretty good chance that they are going to like fail. You know what I mean? Like, even if, because with my gunslinger character, it was a +17 by the end of that
Insane.
campaign to hit. Nearly
Insane.
impossible for me not to hit any. But with a nat 1, which I did roll occasionally, there were misses at least. But that was such an overcranked mid-max character. I do not think that's the way D&D should be played. It's fun to do campaigns every once in a while where you mid-max a character or all of the characters and you're all great at whatever task it is you're doing, and it's very fun, but those are very short campaigns. But if it was an entire 2-year campaign and I'm the only person that cannot miss in a fight, like, I'm going to get bored of that shit sooner or later. Like,
Language.
Yeah.
sorry. Oh, come on, they say that on TV.
Not here.
Yeah, that is interesting that you say that, because it did make it made the environment that it was like snowing matter, and I don't think in this campaign or the Andrea campaign, I don't know that weather ever mattered.
Not so much. Also because of time. Like the time of year. And the fact that one of the first things you all gun for immediately in any campaign is, how do we travel faster? Let's get teleportation immediately. Who can we talk to just teleport us there? We don't want to deal with the environment.
Right, running into the environment, or bandits, or monsters. We're getting from
any of
point A
that
to
stuff.
point B.
No.
So
as soon as fast travel gets unlocked, we start abusing that immediately.
Horror out of
But
it.
if you like slow travel and lots of monsters along the way, Nightbane.
Nightbane, yeah.
How many weeks did it take us in real life to actually get from one place to another?
Journey in that one.
Oh, it was a journey of being hunted by vampires and nearly killed.
But yeah, so that makes like it snowing like an interesting thing that is happening. Because even though I thought no way I could fail this survival roll or whatever, I ended up in a sling
Bad
on Draken's
situation.
chest that whole part. So that was like, oh, it is interesting that it is snowing,
Mhm.
because stuff can happen.
It
Yeah.
incorporated it into the plot rather than just being like set decor.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
That was neat.
And I've always wanted to play with should turn up my brightness because my windows are open.
Aha!
Too bright.
That looked blinding.
I just flashbang myself. I've always wanted to DM in a world where the weather itself is so extreme that is, if it's not an actual living enemy, it is the environment actively trying to kill you at all times. And I'm replaying Gears of War, and the planet in that game, Sarah, the weather is so extreme. They have something called razor hail, where hail comes down in razor blade sharp sheets, and like that's cool. Like stuff like that is awesome, and the giant storms will pick up and destroy entire swaths of continents, and so that'd be fun to throw into.
How do you avoid the weather? It's also part of why I started, after the hand broke up, finding campaign situations to make sure that you all got thrown into it. Except for like in Ultion's, where that one was just a different situation. The city itself was an environment to maneuver.
Oh yeah.
Where snow. I've always wanted to pull extreme weather situations like that. And you're in the middle of winter. Well, actually no, you're at the... No, yeah, you are. You're in the middle of winter for Teffless's campaign, so what a great opportunity to throw a blizzard at you.
And not the tasty ice cream kind.
Yep.
An actual kind.
Make sure you definitely don't skip out on the yellow. Great flavor.
Speaking of wintertime, is there a Christmas equivalent on this continent? I don't think we've asked that question.
Depends on which.
Is
god
there a
you-
life day of this to
Oh,
include
no.
Star Wars?
So
Not
I actually
anymore.
asked. I
Not
asked those
anymore.
questions when we were creating our characters ages ago, and so no, each of the different gods will have their own celebration days, but there's not like a universal one because they've all got different religions to an extent.
So not like Christmas. New Year's, yes. But Christmas, like solstice, that kind of stuff, no. Because it's
Although I
all
do
going to
have
be...
people's birthdays written down.
that very important detail.
And we'll just have to make one then.
I always forget it. Yeah, BTs would be
Yeah,
weird.
I think this is like the first character I've made that has an actual birth date that that is concrete and that we know of. Because before it's just kind of like, well, I'm vaguely this age, or I'm somewhere around there.
I think I have an idea.
You didn't for Parkoth. I'm sure now you'd want to like change the months and stuff like that. But during that campaign, when I first did Draken, we didn't discuss
No.
that level of world building within. So here's my question for you, DM. What are those called in that world? Since technically that is also where. Oh yeah, all right, whatever.
You would be right that they are configured differently. That one would be a little bit more similar to ours. However, for that one, I gave them every single month has 28 days, and there are 13 months, and not 12. But it's going to still be the same amount of days that we have in IRL, as opposed to where Nathriel has 420, they still have 365. So Draken would be akin to shorter years. But a 12-month system, that's weird. especially seeing as the months have an extra week.
That's true. In this, yeah, there is an extra week for the months. Like instead of the extra day, there's an extra. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay. Well,
But the
Draken
month
was born
names
in this
don't got those.
September equivalent of Parkov. Let's see if we can make up a name fast enough, folks. Do you see those eyes going back and
Krithrak.
forth?
Let's call it Krithrak.
Oh, God.
All right, pick a day between 1 and 28.
And can we get the spelling of Krithrak?
No.
Yeah.
I'll do you one better. I'll do you one better. I will roll a d20 and a d8 and choose a number.
Choose a number. You get a couple in there, don't you? All right, Krithrak, I've spelled Krithrehk.
Oh, interesting. I thought you would have ended it with a C.
Nah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got I allowed a little bit more of a, let's go with a Dragonborn influence into it. And went with hard k sounds.
Okay.
Just 8. That'll do.
8. The 8th of
That'll do,
Krithrak.
pig. That'll do.
Right, now that we've determined Draken's birthday.
Yep. Sorry, folks. Just a quick aside, because Tanj mentioned birthdays. For your notes, Tanj, for your notes.
Thank you.
By the end of our friendships together, it's going to be like this big. It's going to be a tome of notes and lore.
Of a whole
Compiled.
different world.
Another thing.
Oh, yeah.
The party seemed really, upset that William got the boot because he used the wrong fork too many times.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
because we don't tolerate abusive parents in this household.
I
will
go for it.
put your father in a wheelchair. Draken would put your father in a wheelchair. Like, that's deeply unacceptable to his culture.
Interesting. Well, so when I came up with the idea, I just thought it'd be like a funny thing, and then it would go away, and then it never did.
No. So,
How many funny things have we been given that don't go away?
none of them. I think I'm still gonna be paying for the spoon.
I know I think about the spoon on a regular basis. Like at least once a week, I think about the spoon. Dog!
The spoon. Yeah.
The spoon. So the funny thing is, when we were creating William, Peter asked, what reason would there be for William to get sent to the Pathfinders as a punishment? I said, well, I gave him a description of Balashtar, and apparently, not using the fork the correct way was how he interpreted would be enough of an offense.
Yeah.
That's not actually the case, but with your father, 100% it totally was, because you made that canon. It's like, all right, that's the case in this case. But typically, they wouldn't be like that.
Yeah, well, you said, so in Balashtar, you had talked about how, thievery and such, the standard crimes were dealt with very harshly. And so I was like, well, it needs to be a very low level thing so that the harsh part is just being sent to the army or whatever, and so that made me think, well, people get sent to the army if they're, if they displease their parents or whatever, and so then I was like, that'll be, maybe they're fancy and they're really into their cutlery, and why would it be offensive to Draken's culture specifically?
So, okay. You guys want to know a fun fact about gorillas? This is something I learned a few months ago. Female gorillas pick males that are gentle with young more often than males who aren't,
Hmm.
right? And so much so that documented in the wild, male gorillas have taken and adopted baby gorillas after they've lost their mom and raised them pretty much on their own. Gorillas are fantastic. They're giant, they're very strong, but they're completely vegetarian and very sweet. It's the same. It's the same for dragonborn culture. The more empathetic and sweet you are around young, the more attractive it is culturally. So that's why, especially a dad doing that, deeply unacceptable.
I really wondered where you were going when you started talking about gorillas.
Exactly. But
We made it
to
around.
make a point. I made it around to make a point. That culturally it's very similar.
So dragons and gorillas are the same to you. So King Kong and Godzilla are the
Dragonborn.
same thing.
Dragonborns. No.
Dragonborn.
Because Dragonborns are already, I have established in the lore that Murray has allowed me to shape at my own will.
And Corsinia,
that they are,
Parkothian Dragonborn.
yep, Parkothian Dragon. They are very empathetic. They are very loving and caring. They are still a people of war and a people of violence, but it's the contrast between those two. They are simultaneously some of the fiercest warriors in Parkoth and the best parents and families and siblings and stuff like that. There's the family structure is an important structure. Just as much as going to war is. So
Interesting.
Vaughn or BT, did you care about the forks?
Well, I was playing. Yeah, I was gonna say I was playing a character that kind of concept just doesn't exist. So the whole idea of someone being sent away because of a fork would be, oh, that's interesting. I'd love to see what the custom is about it.
that makes sense.
And BT doesn't care about forks at all, unless they're made of living metal.
Not really, no. Let's see, let's not get into living metal, because that will go back to this player versus GM argument.
Does
Oh,
BT
yeah.
eat?
Hmm?
BT, do you eat?
No.
Nope.
So
Eat,
then what
drink,
Never eaten.
sleep.
is the fuel?
You guys haven't got to that yet. And I've been
Give me
worried
fuel, give me
about that for a very long time.
Okay.
But now I don't have to worry anymore, because the person I was worried about finding out what my fuel source is gone.
Okay, so tell us.
No.
You mean to tell me that this whole time
Yep.
there's something I
Yep.
could have used inside of you?
Yep.
Oh, hell yes.
Yeah.
Used?
Uh-huh.
Oh, hey, listen, look me in the eye, Tange. Same would have went for Teffie.
What?
There was something inside Teffie that
Yeah, if
Ultion
there was
could have
something
used.
inside Teffie that I could use.
Divorce.
It's a good thing he
Divorce.
wasn't a geneticist. If he was a geneticist, he would have found what Teffie was made of very interesting.
Okay.
But if like your blood was some kind of fuel that I could have used, oh man, I would have hooked you up.
Hey,
hooked
Do you
up
guys
and
not
just
remember
pumped you.
when Teffie consumed one of her potions and killed a man after he had surrendered?
Mhm,
Oh, we all
You
remember.
would have certainly
I don't remember
tried
that,
to have
actually.
used part of Teffie's body, but no.
When
That
did you do?
character was-
When did she do that?
Oh, that was a long time ago. Yeah. I was just having fun with the combat of it all, and I forgot. I just didn't register that the man had surrendered. I got a specifically worded message from Mary later that day, like, hey, just so you know, that is technically considered evil.
Yep.
Oopsie daisies.
Oopsie poopsies.
That's just a
From a
concept for the
point of view.
character. From
a
societal
certain
point of view. Which is something
Yeah,
that,
from certain
the-
society's point of view.
from the point of view that Teflessa carries, it would have been considered an evil act. So it's based off of the player that the interaction comes from. Which is also why when Zora shoved the good berries into that professor's throat, it basically sent Ben the same
Yeah.
message. I'm like, you realize you did something pretty
Yeah.
chaotic there, and you don't have your character as defined that way.
Boy!
It's the potato.
Oh, I haven't seen him in forever. Oh, what an excellent creature.
I've been pondering that sort of thing recently,
He's so cute.
actually.
Creatures or evil?
The latter. Not evil specifically, but I seem to be able to I've only really made like two kinds of characters. Ones that are all the way chaotic, and ones that are all the way lawful. And like those are how those characters are like defined by their chaos or their law. And so I've been like thinking, how do I make a character who isn't that? And I haven't been able to find an answer as of yet. Any suggestions
Apathy.
or thoughts?
Apathy is a very good way of doing the neutral side of things. The true neutral, that is.
I'd have to disagree with you, Peter.
Oh. In which way?
Ox is very neutral.
Is he?
I think so.
I guess he is some. I guess it like in my mind, like his law is to protect Millie and Lawrence. And that's like the thing. And so whatever
Yeah, but
flows
you've
from
not
that.
cared whether or not they do evil or good.
That's true. That is true.
That's actually a good point. The Ox is pretty neutral in the long run, and if you go too far into your route of, well, this is their specific law, you run in the threat of confusing goals into like laws of their nature.
Mhm.
Like it's a goal to protect them, but it's not what they live for.
That was a thought. I had forgotten about Ox for a moment there.
Ox is pretty neutral.
Right back to D&D.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
You have done.
And we don't even
the-
use those alignments.
bring an Ox character into D&D. There you go.
There you go.
So let me just say for Tanch, what you just said there, you don't even use those alignments. How do you decide how your character will act in any specific scenario?
She
Well,
bases
when
them
I was
off of
making-
movies.
Not always. In fact, this is the first time I've done so.
It's
Hey,
can
you
you
want a
lick
little
it? Can you
secret, Murray?
eat it?
You want a little secret?
I know you do too. I've accepted that.
So, when I was creating Relly years ago, I was going through D&D Beyond, like step by step, reading everything about it before I made my decisions. And one of the steps in there is, what's your character's alignment? So I asked Murray, like, hey, how do we define these different categories? And he said, oh, don't even worry about it. We don't use those. So,
He meant that we don't use those as a strict
Book term. Like, so
Sure, like
inside book terms, warlocks cannot, like, I think they got rid of it in 5e, but in 3.5, warlocks could not be chaotic. And, like, barbarians could not be lawful. So when I was, like, saying, we don't worry about that, we don't assign it to any of the classes. You could be anything you wanted regarding the classes. As far as, like, how your character goes, depending on how your character behaves, yes, we do worry about that, because if you're going to suddenly start murdering a bunch of people after saving a town, I'm going to ask you, what's going on inside your character's head? Because we should be really thinking about how you're acting them out, because right now it feels like it's you, the player, versus the character.
Ah, okay.
And we have that separation. Like, we don't insert ourselves fully into the characters and do whatever we want,
Right.
because then we start running the risk of something happens to the character, will we take it personally?
There can be narrative dissidence in video games, but there can't be narrative dissidence in D&D. In video games, there will be stories where it's like, oh, violence is bad, like we should not be violent, and then you're just killing people while you're actually playing the game. Far Cry does that a lot, where like the entire story will be about the repercussions of violence and about the cycle of vengeance, and then it's like, but it's really fun to kill people in this game in very creative ways because they make that gameplay fun while still trying to tell the story of violence is bad. But in D&D, when you're doing it with a group, you can't have one character suddenly like say one thing and then do the complete opposite without it being known that that character lied about that thing, or vice versa, you know? I don't know if that makes sense.
Interesting. So that does take... Oh god, what do they call it? Counterintelligence? Espionage. It makes espionage tricky then, because at what point? Because then you, the player, are sort of playing a player playing another character, right? If your character is pretending to be something they're not. So that's just an interesting level that I hadn't actually...
Which would make for a
thought
good
about that way.
campaign where you create a character that's a certain alignment that then has to, because of a mission, play a different alignment. So then how exactly does that character deal with the fact that in order to complete this thing...
Yeah, Nubisai was evil the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Wait,
It's before your time, Tanj. That character
before
was.
your time.
I thought the knowing was some sort of unholy amalgamation of Finestorm and the previous knowing god and someone else named Aiden, perhaps?
No. I don't know where you're
No?
getting Aiden from.
Zayden?
Yeah, that's the one
Zayden,
then.
there you go. That's Zayden's a different one. That's a whole different character. So Finestorm actually died in that airship that you all were in when that
On
assassination
impact of
attempt.
the war. It wasn't in the airship. It was when he hit the water.
When he hit the water,
Doing Mach 20. But anyway.
he died. Like, Finestorm was dead. So in the latter half, when you were traveling with someone, that wasn't Finestorm. That was Zayden.
That was Zayden. Yeah.
That wasn't Finestorm at all?
That wasn't Finestorm
Nope.
at all. After that airship assassination attempt, you were no longer traveling with Finestorm.
You were
I
traveling
had-
with
Didn't even
Zayden
know.
pretending to be
Didn't even know,
Finestorm.
like my character didn't even know. That's how good I am.
You were traveling with Zayden, who is someone completely different.
And so when, just as a curiosity, when the wish happened at the towards the end of that campaign there, was Finestorm, like, did they resurrect and become a deity, or was it Zayden?
They
Oh.
were actually already in the process of becoming a deity. Finestorm was. After they expired, the knowing god completely let go of his mantle and gave his grace to Finestorm's spirit so that it wouldn't return to the void and get lost amongst all the other ones that hadn't been reborn yet, which is all details we know now, technically. But
And so what happened to Zayden?
he got turned into a deity. That was the caveat of
Oh,
the
they
wish.
both did.
Anyone who is associated with the consequences in some way and could have at some time potentially called themselves a member of the consequences got a wish. And only the benevolent side of their wish would be actually honored as a caveat to the wish as well. Which is why Nubisai technically did become a goddess. What happened from that point forward, you guys don't know. I do, but you don't.
Which is also why the Pantheon now is screwed up. Because there are two gods of a certain
Yes, there are two gods of death.
something. There are two gods of death, and there shouldn't be.
There's
Okay. I was wondering about that.
there's Krish the Shadowed End and the Whispered Night. The Whispered Night ferries the souls of that are passing during the night, and Krish the Shadowed End ferries the souls during the time of day. Which is also why you don't, as a paladin or a cleric, this is where the mess up comes in. If you're trying to resurrect someone and it's nighttime and you're a follower of Chris the Shadowed End, your resurrection's going to fail. Because your god's not there in that hemisphere at that time frame.
We're gonna have to fix that.
What did
Nah.
Prologue become god of specifically?
What was it
The
like?
way.
Order or
Well,
law?
No, I had to look it up recently.
But so not the name of your followers. 'Cause you already
Devotion.
had those. Oh.
He's the god of devotion.
Okay. Far out. I can dig it.
Far out. I can dig it.
Far out, man.
What?
That's an old term
Especially
coming
with
from
that accent. Just can't. It just doesn't quite have the ring.
All right. What did you all think of bringing it back to Tefles's little journey? What did you think of the Temple of Knowing? I mean,
It was a big disappointment.
big disappointment.
As far as
Wasn't very godly.
It subverted
Why?
my expectations. I was expecting something more like Marcus's mansion, massive and sprawling and opulent and full of a whole bunch of stuff. But it had been taken over by that child.
Expect opulence and I give you ruins.
Yep, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Character wise, just another day on the job. Also, really disappointed he didn't get to keep that book.
Yeah.
Player, I don't know. I've known you for so long.
He
I knew
actually
it was
did
going to
get
be
to
the
keep that
exact.
book.
It was either going to be exactly what we thought it was going to be, or the exact opposite of what we thought it was going to be. I was expecting it to be overrun and the guy long gone, and something else was there doing the thing. But that was just me as the player. I was like, if we come across the knowing god and there's no way Murray's just gonna create a knowing god to like, this just felt to me like to what end, really? I don't know. I couldn't really see, like, yeah, we'd have a conversation with him, but if he knows everything, then like there's no way we were gonna actually have a conversation with him. There was just no way. So,
One of you did.
well, yeah, but
Yeah.
he wasn't gonna just come down from some blinding lights and answer our questions or anything. No, that was not going to happen. So,
Yeah.
it was fun though.
the character William didn't. I felt like he didn't really know what we were doing. They were just like, I'm taking you guys over to this place for who knows what reason because they told me to. And so when we got there,
Because
was
you
just
told
sort
me
of-
to.
they're just sort of like weird. It was like, we're licking doorways to get in. Some creepy zombie guy here. What's going on? And so that was the sort of the feel of the place. And then there's that creepy child who just like teleported onto William's back and stabbed him with a syringe and whatever. And so it was mostly just weird, I think, for William. For me, the player, it was cool. I didn't expect the room full of people's stories, which I thought was cool. I couldn't figure out a reason for William to care enough to let's go like Like if it was like Snozboop, it would have been like, ooh, let's read out. Let's just stay here for some time and read through all this. But that's not how it was. That's not how it was going for William. But it was like, ooh, this could be. We could do. I could just like make you force you to make up a bunch of stuff right here. That could be really fun.
Yeah, that
Oh
room
man,
was risky.
that battle was fun. With all the the rivers of acid, the little canals of acid.
Do an acid roll.
Yeah, doing a barrel roll right in. Oh, that was a fun one. Anytime, and I'm sure you guys have felt this too at points with your characters, but anytime your character has something specific to them that just, even if it's minuscule as me being resistant to acid, that character being resistant to acid, and me getting to use that to my advantage, oh, mwah, delicious.
Gotta love it.
That reminds me of a time.
Long, long time ago.
We had a campaign where the group definitely, by mistake, went up against something they shouldn't have. Well,
Always the best.
well above their
Always the
level. No way in hell that they were going to win. But the thing that came down to it was when this big baddie attacked the group, he attacked the people individually, and the DM rolled what type of attack he was using at that moment. And 4 times in a row, he rolled the attack that character specifically was resistant against. So from this big
Delicious.
baddie's point of view, he went, blah, no effect. Blah, no effect. Blah, no effect. Blah, no effect. I'm out of here, bye.
I'm running.
But there was this, it was just such a roll of luck. It was just, wow. Otherwise, we would have been dead.
My favorite moments, and this will actually kind of, it sounds weird. I hate it in the moment, but I love it afterwards. The moment of, oh, should we run? Like, should we actually take all of our next turns and run as far away as possible? Or do we bite the bullet here and try and finish this out? That's because every ounce of me is screaming, I need to run. Like, I need to, even if nobody else is part of this plan, I need to get out of here.
And you had Ultion kaput. Oh, I need to run, says the guy who implanted a bomb in his chest before we met him.
Well, that was a very specific. See, well, that's the thing. At other moments earlier in the campaign when we went, oh shit, specifically with Ultion, very specifically with Ultion, it was what if I don't get to actually do what I've been planning on doing for my entire life since I was 9 years old? So maybe I should abandon these fools and run as far away from this as possible. You guys don't know how often that genuinely happened.
There were a few times I got messages of, is this a time Ultion uses his explosive?
There were times when I asked you that, or I asked you, like, should I leave? Can I go? How mad will everybody else be if I leave?
Okay, but that's not an Ultion exclusive thing. I specifically remember your Landriel getting swallowed by the monsters we were facing many times so that you can fight it from inside. I
fought it from the inside one time. Every other time, I was involuntarily, against my will, swallowed. Okay, there was one
you're not taking the opportunity to run then.
I'm waiting for the time Ultion meets your current group. Not Ultion, your Landriel meets your current group, and I throw you against a big enough creature that just swallows him. Like,
it happened 4 times. It happened 4 times that campaign. I got swallowed by a giant beast. Once on purpose.
Oh.
Oh, Christ.
Well, the last
Yeah.
little piece
I
is
enjoyed my campaign.
how did you enjoy your piece of paper and what it turned out to be?
I was very confused by it, and I still don't think I completely understand it. And I feel like sometimes, so I need to learn with you that what I want is not what I get. The amount of times I want like a straightforward answer, and then this paper is like cryptic as hell, tells me nothing. What do you mean?
You do
So-
get the answer you're looking for. You just, not the way you want to get it.
Yeah.
You want it to be straightforward, but no, you're dealing with a god. They're gonna be obfuscating about the information they give you. But you can, if you go into your Tefflesser character sheet, I have added an item to your inventory.
Oh, have you now?
Yes.
Oh, hello.
Tell us more.
Oh, hello. I'll let her get to it. It's pretty cool. But gave me a wonderful chance to introduce a certain kind of item to everyone else's. And as we've been away from Tefflesser's, I just threw it in there and I was like, you know what? This might be a fun time to just tell to Tange to go check out her inventory list.
Well, okay then.
So what'd you get?
The Book of Knowing. And it's orange.
That means it's legendary.
Orange.
There's one of a kind.
Yes.
It's
Orange.
the only one it has.
Yeah.
Are you going to tell us what it does?
Oh, would you like me to read it? Out
Seems
loud?
only
For the class?
good.
Okay. Okay, it does require attunement, which is interesting. Not much is known of the knowing god. They are not widely worshipped or followed by the populace. Commonly called the Silent God, the knowing holds and safeguards the complete history of Nathriel through all renditions. The Book of Knowing, once attuned, will disappear from the inventory of its carrier. It appears to the one who is most worthy of carrying it. Oh, that's me! Oh, thanks. There is a chance it will remain in the possession of whomever holds it. Once obtained, a pilgrimage to the Temple of Knowing must be achieved to restore the book to its full form, where a visitation with the Knowing God will occur. While the Knowing God does not see the future, their knowledge of the past often leads to pertinent foresight. This vestige of ascension frequently aids those in making more informed decisions. And then Dormant. Dormant?
It's a status your legendary, one-of-a-kind item is in.
Oh,
They
cool.
go through stages,
So-
like the big bosses.
Oh,
Your book can get more powerful,
interesting.
but it's
Addendum A.
tied to a
Addendum
god.
B.
So it's
Uh,
usually... The waking of these things up is more of a, how is your path aligning with the god it's attuned to? So the more
Okay.
in the knowing path you go, the more the item itself will like you.
Cool. And so when it's dormant, intelligence scores, saves, and ability checks are made at +1. Once per long rest, I may cast the spell Divination without components. When all the moons of Nathriel are full, you may have a communion with the knowing god and a single vision of the past wherever, whenever, whomever as the focus. That's interesting.
What does divination
Actually-
spell do?
That's a great question. I have no idea. So let's check my spells list now. Oh, I only have 4 spells in total. Okay. Divination. Your magic and an offering put you in contact with a god or a god's servants. You may ask a single question concerning a specific goal, event, or activity to occur within 7 days. The GM offers a truthful reply. Okay. The reply
That's
might be a
not
short
understanding.
phrase, a cryptic rhyme, or an omen. The spell doesn't take into account any possible circumstances that might change the outcome, such as the casting of additional spells or the loss or gain of a companion. If you cast the spell 2 or more times before finishing your next long rest, there is a cumulative 25% chance for each casting after the first that you get a random reading. The GM makes this roll in secret. Interesting. So we're about to get a lot more lore. But when all the moons are full, where did I put my calendar?
Aha, that's once a month.
Well, I know it's once a month.
It's on what day, though?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think it's... Actually, no, I think it's once every other month.
No, the largest moon has a 35 solar cycle.
That's
so
right,
a 1
yeah.
month cycle. But then, okay, so if the weeks... If the lines are 7 solars long, and the smallest moon has a 2 solar cycle, alternating full and new, and full and new, and full and new, that doesn't tie into the actual calendar. It doesn't tell me when, what's his name, Gruthus is full.
No, because it's its own moon, it has its own cycle.
Okay, so then every day,
So-
in addition to the date, I'm going to need you to tell me what the moon is doing.
So it's... that's also why I say I think what you've got is every other month, because the little one is going to alternate on which end
Oh.
it's full or large. And for your ability there, it has to be all of them being full.
And since there's an even number of months, it would be the same month, the same once a month, every year. So,
Yep.
like, if it happens in January, it's always in January.
Yep.
Sorry, Zanus.
There you go.
Okay, so which month does the moon line up? Let me grab a pencil.
I don't know. I sent you a calendar sheet. You can go check that out.
For the folks at home that are slowly nodding off at the astrological lore of this world,
Hey, there's a lot of astrological
please-
lore.
please go to our merch shop, buy some shirts, buy some cool stuff. Check us out on Discord, on YouTube, on Twitch, all that good stuff.
You can
all the
find those links
socials.
below.
Yes. What else? What am I missing?
Check out our Instagram and TikTok. They've got stuff coming out.
Yes.
Good stuff. Fun
It
stuff.
reminds me of like how so many for D&D, and I assume for all the tabletop games, the way that you enjoy it is just like different, like person to person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, I have not written down your moon calendar a single time, and I didn't want to. But Tange loved it, ate it up, got it all down, and is just
She's
enjoying
an
the moon
astrology girly.
calendar.
Come on now.
I'm actually
And,
really not. I just need specificity
You
in my life.
throw off the vibes. You throw off the vibes that if things got bad, you tiptoe into that astrology.
That's such a Sagittarius
I'm
thing to
kidding.
say.
I'm a Virgo. Get
I,
out of my life.
exactly. I don't know the month.
Exactly.
So that's just a fun thing that had occurred to me during that discourse.
Just keep in mind, if we get into more modern time era technology stuff for this world, if we keep advancing the way we are forward, there's going to be a point where I'm legitimately going to have space travel figured out for you all. So when we get there, I'm going to be so happy that I've already figured it out.
Yay.
Or, and this is my school of
That's just a
DMing,
blessing for me.
you could just
Wing it.
make it up. You could just
If I had to
go
guess,
off
I
of
would
vibes,
say
folks.
it
Sometimes
would be-
vibes will carry you farther than notes. I'm kidding. They don't. They really don't.
It's
What were you saying?
every year, Tange. Every year it's
Right.
full. They're all full.
Okay.
Every year on that date.
Okay. No, I know that, but you just said first day of Xarnas, alternating from there. You didn't say if it was full or new on that day.
It's full. First day. Sorry, yeah, context. I was bringing previous context of all of them being full.
Okay.
Which that day is coming up. It's the first day of the year. Every year. I've always been curious as to whether or not you're all going to get into even more astrological stuff, because there is actually some interesting stuff and detailing about that. He
Can?
takes his glasses off.
It's just so much work and it's so much stress for
There's some interesting lore details to it.
It's very interesting. And, you know,
yes, but also
he's the bastard who gave us
Oh, I
3
love
moons
it.
to keep track of.
I
Yep.
know. I
One of
know.
them's not
and
even a
I love him
moon.
to death
What?
for it.
What?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's not
Oh,
even
you don't know much yet.
Which
Some
one?
interesting
Gruthis?
stuff. I'm not telling
Is
you.
Gruthis
I'm
the
not
floating
telling you.
island that
That's it.
split off from that crater
I'm
at the
just-
end of campaign
I'm-
1?
Why do you
I'm-
think when
no.
we go in the past, there's only 2 moons?
I've not noticed that, guy. I must have assumed that the little one
There
was
you go.
sleeping.
So, but
Oh.
to answer the floating island thing, that's still in Andrea. Those floating islands can actually be found all over the world at this point.
Oh, I gotta recover from that. That was a good one.
But there you go, Tanj. I've teased you a little bit with details of astrological stuff. Now I expect questions in the future from Teffie to the knowing god.
Then we shouldn't
No.
tell her about the 4th moon, huh?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Yeah.
I don't think she's ready for that one.
I don't think I am either.
Unrelated to moons, if we're ready for that.
Oh yeah, go for it. We've had enough fun with the astrology.
Is being able to innately fly overpowered?
Yes.
It seems so good.
So
It really is.
it's really useful and a whole lot of fun to be able to fly. It's also kind of a DM's bane, because, I mean, Prologue experienced why it's a DM's bane.
Yeah.
You very rarely have creatures that can shoot up to like 120 feet away. Whereas if you're flying, well, you can very easily stay out. In fact, I actually have a Warlock build that I want to do at some point, just so I can be that annoying player who's 360 feet in the air, shooting down Eldritch Blasts to the ground, not able to get touched by the foes, but able to lay down all the hurt with no end from the sky. Like in 5e, you could do that, split your Eldritch Blast into beams, and then have them do little explosions. Like there's a disgusting build I have in 5e that when I presented it to Phil, he made sure that character did not last more than 4 sessions. It's like, target, kill that one. Because it's just a field of pain and hurt. So, yeah, fine. Big blessing.
And it being like, what happens if, you know, in some future campaign, like you're the DM and everybody, all the players, pick flying characters?
Well, then I'm going to create a gang of people who have a lot of jetpacks.
It'll be a
Smart,
flying
smart.
campaign at that point.
It'll be a flying campaign then, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? It does, though, as frustrating as it is for DM, I'm sure, it does make logical sense when you think about people on the ground trying to fight people in the air. They're performing 360-degree combat while you are not. So there is a huge advantage to being in the air.
There's a
in
reason
combat.
the Mandalorians have jetpacks. Portable high ground.
How did Obi-Wan
This is the
win in
way.
the end? He had the high ground.
Exactly.
Except for that time in the first movie where he didn't have the high ground and he cut Darth Maul in half. But
Aye, by the time he cut
No,
Darth Maul
he
in
had
half,
the
he was...
high ground, not
What?
the high ground.
He had
True.
the moral high ground.
He had the moral high ground, but he was actually, so when he made that swing, he was level with Darth Maul. He wasn't below him at that point. He was on the
Wait.
same level.
all right,
Technicalities.
Well, so was
Okay.
Anakin when he fucking. Sorry, but when
Language.
I almost
Language.
Did it. I almost did it. You almost got me to it. God, I love those movies. They're so dumb, but I love them. They're so dumb.
No, and the 20th anniversary is coming up in a
Oh
couple
my
of weeks.
Goodness. And
I'm
to go on a
actually
Star Wars
growing to
marathon.
really, really appreciate the prequels.
Yeah, all it took was Disney making the other ones for us to appreciate
No,
the
no.
prequels.
It is not that. I do like the second Disney. The Last Jedi fails in a lot of respects, but it makes some choices that are new and interesting, and that's the first time Star Wars has done that in 2 decades. So
That's fair.
anyway,
I'll give it to you. But we'll save that for another at some point. Hate, laugh, love, whenever we decide to do another. I would be interested actually in if you all did a flying campaign. I think that would be fun. I would stretch
Especially if we
my
all flew in different ways.
yeah. Like one of you was an
we'd have to
artificer,
figure out
one had natural
360-degree combat.
Yep. How to present that in maps, because oof,
Yeah.
that would be difficult.
We would have to. Oh, they have that new system, but that takes so much. That would take all of us having like really up to date computers for us all to run. But they do have those like 3D versions of D&D where you can create like a 3D map and we can put our character movements around and blah. So that would
takes a
be
lot of
the
processing.
easiest way to visualize, but that takes so much other stuff.
In real
to
life,
do.
at a table with pulleys and fishing line above.
Yeah, if we
It
were
feels
at
like
a
it'd be a what's that movie? Waterworld? Is that with Kevin Costner? You know what I'm talking about?
I know the
The
movie you're
one
talking
that's
about.
Yeah,
Mad Max
Waterworld.
but ocean. Mad Max
Yeah.
but ocean.
So it'd be kind of like that, except instead of ocean, it's sky, and so you're like flying for days, trying not to run out of energy until you find like I don't know a zeppelin or something, so you could rest and be like an island of zeppelins.
A world that has no actual physical land masses on it. It's a water world, but everything is
Gas
in the
Gas
sky.
planet.
Well,
Oh.
well, even a gas planet, but that involves so much other. Because
No,
then we're
doing
different
it.
creatures entirely. Because that doesn't. The pressures involved with that's so extreme.
doing it.
You don't understand. You don't
I'm doing
understand
it.
the storms that are involved with gas giants. You don't
I'm doing it.
understand.
I mean, I guess you could say like maybe all land is lava,
Mm.
so it's not like
Then you're dealing with a lot of poisonous
livable.
gases going into the planet as well.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
water world works better. Water world where the water is acidic.
There you go.
Ding 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 ding.
That,
ding.
and if you touch it, you start getting into the creatures that can actually survive the acidity,
Mhm.
and they're
Exactly.
which is going to make them more dangerous and deadly. I mean, you touch them,
Very.
you'll probably be losing your fingers due to the acidity.
No more.
You can't even
fingies.
eat them because you'd be
What
just
would
be
be
burning out the interior of your stomach.
what would be a good name for a world that is in the air? Like there are platforms, like giant platforms that have like cities on them. That's what I'm imagining. Is like
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
with big old like blades
rings.
whirring
And then you have like
underneath.
platform wars instead.
A platform.
And there's like a general
platform world. That's what it is.
platform
It's
world.
platform world.
It's not flat world, it's platform world.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Okay,
Trademark.
right. We should.
Trademark Albearinn.
It's ours. It's ours, everyone. Oh boy.
Oh, I love these episodes. All right, what are we talking about next?
Any other
Back to what we were doing.
Any other comments on Teffie's little journey? Anything like in regards to, like, how do you all feel about the ending and the random little details that came out towards the end? Obviously, you were successful in getting rid of love and its insanity and freeing creation from their problems. You made contact with the knowing god. Established peace with the Nork. Well done, ending a 6-year-long war.
We ended 2 wars in both of ours. Heck yeah.
Oh, look at us.
High five
Sort
for the
of.
internet.
Something like that, yeah.
Messengers of peace
Sort of.
after all.
Kinda,
No!
in a way.
One was through probably the most peaceful way. The other one was through, let's just really mess things up.
Uh-huh. Let's destabilize a nation real quick.
Okay. Think about this, everyone at home. So the way they ended the Newark Empire was by freeing the oppressed leader of the Newark and getting rid of the corruption that was seizing and taking hold of it. The way they ended the war in Grantina was by literally French Revolution. Guillotining all of the senators, just getting rid of the entire government through force, so that one could be made off of the blood of the latter. Very violent.
And
It was
folks,
great.
I'm not saying it works, but
There's two methods, same pie.
yeah. Good stuff. Messengers of peace, in a way.
How should Osboop feel about that?
Really good.
Once he finds out.
Let's see.
Isn't there a superhero who's, or maybe villain, who's super violent but says that he's for peace?
Batman.
Probably a lot of them.
Okay, well, yeah, that's true. But no, his like whole shtick is that he really loves peace and he doesn't care who he has to kill to
It's
achieve it. Or
Peacemaker.
something. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker, yeah.
Okay, maybe that's what we're doing after all.
I care about peace and justice, and I will kill every man, woman, and child in my way to get there. God, I love that character so much.
Oh, wow.
That character exists in the same world as the new Superman that's coming out, and I really love that. I really enjoy that.
I've never been excited to see a Superman film, but I am actually excited to see the new one.
As a Superman fan, I am very excited. I still have concerns because of how jokey James Gunn is, but when he is serious, he's serious. So it's not going to be a Superman that's sad that he's Superman, which I have never liked. So at least
Superman,
in the
that's sad.
table.
He's Superman.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
That is
or-
a funny way to say it, because
It
you're
is.
right. He is always
he was
sad
so
that he's...
he was just like, I don't want to, and it's like, no, Superman's a boy from Kansas. He wants to be a good guy. He just happens to be the most powerful being in the universe. So
Oh, then let's move on from Teffie's journey and their course through the cold, cold, frigid lands of the Newark and move over to Ultion's through the hot, hot deserts of Grantina.
are we splitting this one into 2 episodes? Or
Now
we're
we're just
running
going
it full.
running it full.
What is yapping?
We're just yapping.
All right. Well,
Switch gears here.
I just, flip the brain switch to a whole different mindset.
So I'll just say this at the beginning as like a blanket statement. Me and Murray, from the beginning, knew where this was going roughly. I expected it to happen a lot sooner, but also I should have realized that we were going to do our thing that we always do and start spinning too many plates at one time. So,
We're so good at it.
Circus
So
act here. Nose, hands, elbows, shoulders, head.
exactly. So it isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be, but it is thematically the best in my opinion it could have turned out given the direction it went. And I, just as a player, want to say that I very much appreciate that as a DM, that you went, okay, this is what he wants, this is where we're at, this is what I can do to maybe get it to this point. And then as soon as we got to that point, you were like, no, okay. All right. Okay. So I understand that it's not always easy when a player comes to you and goes, this is where I want to start, this is where I want to end. Because that's not but I gave you the caveat of, I don't want to be this character through the whole thing. Like, I don't, because I know that this character's gonna be kind of a bummer, but I really want to do it. So, yeah. Anyway, all of that to say, great DMing. Really loved it.
Thanks. It was fun creating a nation that was incredibly corrupt, giving you a very good reason to overthrow it. The means of which, yeah, that was very unsavory, but
Yeah.
that's part of storytelling. Sometimes you get into unsavory details.
And I also wanted to do someone different from the bumbling idiot savant that was Ultion, or that was Urlandriel. So, yeah. And then you were like, yeah, and when you come back, who do you want to be? And I was like, could I be maybe Draken? And you're like, yeah, sure, whatever. I was like,
Damn it, he's here
baby,
now.
let's go.
I don't want to
My
take
first
him over.
one. But yeah, that was very fun.
Good. I'm just super curious as well, because Ultion actually never got the truth. He never learned who Sir Rodney really was, because that came out after Ultion got taken. What would have Ultion's reaction have been if he'd learned that detail?
Oh, at that point in time? Eeh. It's hard to explain because you did all of the things, I think, that you knew would push my character into a point of being like, okay, well, I just, like, I there's no helping, because I tried. Folks at home, I tried to do a more soft-handed, getting the people of the city to go in my direction to do all of that, and you put every single roadblock that would just anger and frustrate my character to the point where he was just like, well, if I have to do it myself like I originally planned to do, well, then I guess I'll do it myself. And so by that point, I don't know. That is a very good question. I'd really have to think about that. I would have had to think about it for a while if in RP my character had learned that. I would have had to tell you, like, okay, give me 2
me a minute.
seconds.
Give me a minute.
Yeah.
Do an ad read or something.
Yeah, something, please. Yeah. I don't know. By that point, it was, no matter what, the decision was made. The course of action was set, especially in that final battle, getting Francis out of there.
Mm.
You know, that was just, you downed me twice, and I was like, well, okay, like, yep, all right. Cool.
That was a fun fight, because it was 100% geared for a just get this guy and run. Don't actually stand around and fight.
Yeah.
But you got rid of the biggest threat right from the get-go after rolling really well and getting there ahead of everything else. That Iron Golem, by the way, could have downed all of you. Like, I could have just thrown that Iron Golem against you, and that would have been enough.
So
I did not expect any one of us to get out of there, actually. At one point, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to do this now, I think. Actually, I'm gonna have to get as many of these as many people as I can in one go.
Okay. I think you might have explained this last time, but goldfish brain, let me live. What was the tea with that giant black orb?
Oh, you don't get a full tea on that. So, that's the price of not being able to study something and just getting rid of it immediately and rolling too good. That black orb was what you would be able to remember and would be able to bring back as an arcanist with your character, Minnie, is that it was some kind of communication device. There was a point A and a point B, and they could communicate through it, and they could even possibly see through it. So whoever was on the other side was probably watching the whole thing.
Okay. Okay. Well, then I'm super glad I got rid of the orb.
Yeah, you banished that thing to the Shadow Realm.
Mm-hmm.
It was good.
No wizards are allowed to ponder that orb.
Eliminated.
So you were planning on just killing all of us at some point?
No, I wanted to throw
No,
you. I
Ethan.
wasn't planning on killing you all. I wanted to throw you all in a situation that it was genuinely what it's supposed to be. An extraction.
Ethan wanted
Just
to
Do you,
kill
do you
in
want
and out.
do you want the original plan? Do you guys? This is a good enough time to tell
Yeah.
the original plan, I think. So you know the big meeting coming up of all of the nations that's been pushed back recently.
Yeah.
That was the plan, because all of the Grantinan Senate would have been there, and anyone helping them would have been there, and any leader who was passive and doing nothing to help out Gratina would have been there. It was a clearing of house. That was
And-
So wait,
was the original
You have
plan.
to.
To be clear,
Yep.
your plan was to be a suicide bomber.
Yes.
Bold move, Cotton.
It's a very bold move. Very bold move. And you have to keep in mind that's from Ultion's perspective as well. So, like, for example here, as the Balashtar was actually doing a lot for Grantina. They were doing a lot politically on the sidelines, not getting fully engaged in a war, not sacrificing their own people for it, but doing a lot financially and a lot on the political realm of keeping everyone else in a situation of, let's not step in and force our own government's hand into their situation. The states of Optula, it depends on the state. And the Vesuth had their own problem. They're getting invaded right now by a bunch of cultists. The other one, the Trillic Union, they don't control the seas, and they're very much more we're focused on ourselves. Our economy is already struggling enough. We're barely able to hold ourselves up right now, so let's just... You all do you. We're not going to support anything. So from Ultion's perspective, they're all in the wrong, because they're all not immediately hopping in with forces to get rid of the corrupt government, and they're not fighting the way he would fight back.
Not good enough.
Not good enough.
Oh yeah. This character before the... Because how long since the beginning of the campaign? Begin?
Over a year.
Yeah. So, in a year, his understanding of the world changed enough, shift enough to where he understood that was probably not the best solution. He still was going to kill the leaders of the Grantinan Senate. That was still fully on the table. The everyone else part of it was more of a, now I see that everyone's got their issues going on. And even though I don't like the fact that they're either turning a blind eye or vaguely helping with money, still in his opinion, vaguely helping with money. That's why when the split came up, it was like, yeah, that actually works better, because then I don't have to avoid that meeting in the beginning and then just to go off and kill the Grantinan Senate later. That was just complicated and blah blah blah. But it worked out, is what I mean to say.
Mhm.
It was...
So, question. The bomb implanted in Ultion's chest, was it a normal bomb that would have just killed everyone until he became the god of vengeance and then it magicked into a
Not a god.
planar bomb? Or was it always a weird planar bomb?
I think that's why I was in the machine, is because that bomb was a key component to the machine that I was hooked into. So I would have erased. I would have taken that entire meeting hall.
It's very high compact explosive. It would have been the former until Wrath got himself involved and started pouring his own stuff. And again, not a god, primordial. They are very different entities. To be a god, you have to hold a grace, and none of the primordials can physically hold a grace. That's an impossibility. They are very separate. So it was through Wrath's alterations that turned it into what it became. And through that, it was his fusion into Ultion's body. Basically, leaving his own and entering Ultion. If Ultion remained in that state, Ultion would have ceased to exist, and Wrath would have just had a new body.
Dang.
I did not know it was Wrath. I thought it was...
Yeah, it was Wrath.
How big was the payload on that bomb in my chest, though?
I probably could have... It would have taken out... No, it's not... It wasn't Zellum size quality, but it definitely could have easily taken out a good portion of one of the levels of Strong Earth. Would have collapsed the city.
I would have, like, if you had pulled my my jacket like this, you would have seen just C4 and stuff like that.
It was lined with it too.
I would have been packed with explosives at that point.
Reagents upon reagents.
Yeah, it was a very specific character. I built Communist Batman, is what I built. I took the Batman from Superman Red Sun, and I was like, well, what if you put this in a D&D world? What if you put this guy in a D&D world?
I enjoyed it because it gave me the capability of, being able to go from a very peaceful, let's explore and have fun adventure together, Teffie, to let's overthrow government, Ultion. Different levels.
The gang overthrows the government.
Game, yeah. Different serious levels.
I can't wait to see the weirdness of the next one. The next one could be so strange. So strange.
Chaos is back!
Let's go!
Let's go! I'm so excited for Chaos to be back.
Are you actual?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
He's one of my favorites.
Nice. Very good. Let me see.
What do you all think of the overarching theme that's starting to get revealed after having explored the last two campaigns? Or this last two mini ones, Teffie's journey and Ultion's journey. There was some common correlations.
There's too many fingers in these pies as far as enemies are concerned, in my opinion. Far too many fingers in these pies.
Yeah? How many do you think?
Either that or one big finger. Either it's many hands or one big finger.
It's one big finger, unfortunately.
It's just one big finger.
See, that's my concern, because I know you, and you're gonna make me hate someone again. You're gonna make me bring this specific character back in order to hate someone again.
There's gonna be a whole nother name on your list. The name Marcus brings up anxiety. This other name's gonna get associated, and you're gonna be, oh no.
See, the secret though is Draken has gotten to the point where if he does ever come across Marcus, and there's a bigger threat, I might just ask for a little bit of help. Like that's how long it's been.
What does that mean?
Oh, I know. You're powerful. I need your help for a moment.
You know Cecil from Invincible? I don't know if you guys are watching Invincible. Watch it. It's very good. Yeah. He's a good asset, you know? Good asset to have on the team.
I don't get it.
Marcus's ambitions are small enough that he's no longer considered the BBEG. He's just a evil guy that has to be dealt with eventually. Now, the bigger threat.
From last campaign with the Turtle Island, with the mansion, and all of that. Yeah, that tied into the Marcus stuff and all of that.
I just didn't understand this. What you meant by Cecil or whatever? Are you saying you would insta kill Marcus, or you would no longer insta kill Marcus?
Would no, because he's a good asset. I would get him on the team.
Okay.
Just long enough to defeat this bigger threat, and then we have something to discuss.
Nice. Although I think we tried that before and he got away.
Yeah, and that's the version that Draken actually killed. Fun fact.
Oh. Huzzah.
Not before he killed Mothra.
So I'm going after the original copy. Is who I'm going after, because I know that was not the one that I killed was not the original copy, and
he was part
ones
of
that
the
I've come
original
across
copy.
since have not been. So
yeah, the ones you came across since were all copies. The one you defeated was one half of himself. So in sense, yes, he was the original copy, but part of him was split away from himself, and that's the other half was killed by the consequences.
Poor guy doesn't know that yet, you know.
No, but you're now in the world where you can learn it. Yay! Draken will learn soon. His ultimate quest is already done. Can't wait for Draken to meet Yolondriel.
You're gonna make me talk to myself, and I despise that. I despise that deeply.
Maybe, but at the same time, the fact that the two of you visited.
I can do it. I do it all the time.
Well, the fact that Peter and yourself even visited your previous characters was mostly because we still had some details to figure out, and I thought it'd be fun to throw you in that seat. From that point forward, though, whenever they show up, it's going to be me. They're my characters now. They're NPCs.
They're my characters now.
Well, that gives me a thought. I guess for the main people as well, but I guess I was thinking a little bit more of the side characters. Were there parts of these side characters or the main characters, if that's that you had sort of hoped to get to that we haven't yet or didn't? Does that make sense?
Like, what part of the characters that you all played through the course of the two mini campaigns that?
Yeah, so for like Korag, right? He's a side character. We weren't doing like anything specifically for him. It's about Ultion in that situation, right? But I really wanted to like get into him being fancy a lot more. But there wasn't like an opportunity to get fancy in the Grantina. Like there's no fanciness. Just the dredges seemingly everywhere. So
it was the potential.
Well, I mean, he was with Ultion.
Visiting. He was with Ultion, so yeah, no. But...
like you said, he's the communist Batman. There is no fanciness. I don't know. Was anything like that for anybody else?
I really liked the episode where I pretended to be a whole bunch of people, including Ultion. That was just fun. I think I would like to incorporate that sort of thing into future characters. I think.
Like a what's the shapeshifter race?
Chameleon?
No, it's an actual Well, they're the shifters, but they're not changelings.
Yeah, changelings.
Oh, interesting.
There's specific rules to changelings in Nathriel. Because we don't have the Fey Realm changeling, and that's typically what the stuff is based off of, is the Fey Realm ones that have gone from the Fey Realm to the planet and made their life there. Here we don't have that. So changelings are purely, like, from what we have is, and like in Andrea, would be the species that Marcus created to be his espionage agents around the entire place. Like, I think her name was Liala or Liana, and Jack. Those two were changelings. And Zayden. Zayden was one. They have different stat blocks than the typical D&D changeling does. So you can.
Okay. Yeah, I liked that aspect. That was fun.
That was fun. I had to write down random conversations that you could overhear. I even actually have a few that you didn't get to hear.
Oh, dang.
And you'll never get to hear them. Because they're so irrelevant now. Good old Sergeant.
That dog.
Vaughn,
Yeah.
how about you? Were there any parts of that those characters that you were like, I wanted to get in on this a little bit more, but it
I
just like didn't work out?
I thoroughly enjoyed everything that happened around Shadows. Shadows was exactly the kind of character that I was trying to get him to be, and I don't think there was anything specific for him that he would have wanted to do more of. Losing Korag right in front of him wasn't great. That kind of made him desire to be more hands-on involving certain things, which is why he ended up going deeper into the hand, I guess. But or wherever it is that they operate from. But as far as the Aborian, there's a lot of things the Aborians want to do, but there's not always a lot of opportunity for them to do it. And going into the Nork Empire, like, horridly limited what he could and would have been able to do. So he fell short.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff did he want to do?
Wow, communicating with all the plants along the way would have been great, but they were all corrupted. Being able to connect with life would have been awesome because, Aborians like to create life, but life had at that point already had influence from an outside source, so didn't want to have more influence from an outside source. So that wouldn't have worked. And also playing as a spore druid is very, very difficult, and more often than not doesn't quite coincide with campaigns.
Why is that? I don't know anything about a spore druid.
Spore druids are really good at creating bodies out of like zombies out of bodies they just dropped, but if that body can't actually become a zombie, or if they don't drop the body, then it doesn't really work. And a lot of stuff is resistant against necrotic.
Really?
Druids are very necrotic.
Yeah, when you...
Well, a lot of stuff that shows up in Murray's campaign for sure.
It's like taking a plant that thrives in tropical regions and planting it in somewhere that is the complete opposite of tropical and expecting it to flourish. Like
Exactly.
That aberration definitely was wandering into territory that you would not typically find an aberration.
He hadn't had the opportunity to adapt, and as such, things weren't exactly the way he would have wanted them. But that's the way that some characters tend to go.
And no aberration had ever been there before, so it was kind of like a
Nope.
exploration.
New experience.
I thought we were going to have one aberration in each of the minis, but apparently just the one aberration the one time.
It was a
Well, see, that's the thing. Only one person asked him to come with them.
no one. It had to be like one of the requests at the beginning, and Teffie
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, I'll take an aberration." Ultion just left and said nope. So we had to make the group off of something that existed in the city already.
Okay.
And the last one, like, there was full on the opportunity for Schnorsboop to be like, "Yeah, let's take an aberration." Spoiler alert for everyone for the campaign coming up. But then, no, a whole different
Didn't happen.
character got spun up.
But each of these is
Yeah.
having a BT, so we'll
Yeah.
have some consistency.
We'll have another form of consistency too. Part member of the hand is going to be in it.
The hand are all so different, mate.
Yeah, they are incredibly different.
That's not consistency.
All we have to do is look at the theme of these small campaigns. Adventure! Revolution! Peace! Hand in a nutshell.
Oh no, you froze for me. Oh no.
Oh no.
Well, as long as you guys can still hear me. See me.
Yeah, he hadn't frozen for us.
Any other questions, guys? Guys?
Not at this
Using
time.
cards. That's
Not
a
at this
rare
time.
occasion. Not at this time
I
from
know.
Tangerine. No questions.
Not
Wow.
at this time.
I am amazed.
I definitely have an idea now.
That's dangerous.
Yep. Hey, Mom, I'm gonna need your help.
Oh boy.
I think like partway through, I don't know, it was more towards the end, I think, when Ultion had sort of figured out what was happening. And he sort of changed gears, I think. Was he still Snosboop's friend at that point?
Oh.
Ooh, that is a good question. I think yes and no. I think for sure yes he was up until the point of giving that like last little speech and pretty much condemning the entirety of the city to pretty much fester and drown in their own filth is pretty much what I said. I think up until that moment, yes, but then after that, that was who that was the 10-year-old boy locked in the quarantined zone. Like that's who that was. That was no longer the Ultion that you guys knew.
Well, let me throw out a hypothetical for you that I tried to make happen, but it turns out to have been impossible, so it didn't happen. But if, towards the end there, if Snosboop had somehow teleported himself or hologrammed himself into your presence and been like, Ultion, buddy, don't do this. Don't kill yourself and embrace friendship. Would it have had a chance of working?
Brother, I doubt he would have even seen you. Seen or heard you. Like
that hurts. Okay. Man.
because like the dredges in that city in Stronrith are worse than the dredges of even Zellum because of how much bigger that city is compared to Zellum. So it's had how many more like centuries of growth and despair and
Yeah, Strawnrith was a city that was still standing at the end of the Gene Wars. One of the few. So parts of that city even was in place during that era.
you like described areas as like unlivable. Like there weren't even like homeless people in certain areas. It was just so
Yeah, the
deeply inhospitable.
inner core, the very base level, all the way on the inside, completely uninhabited. It's not inhabitable anymore because of the living conditions in that area. It's basically a refuse of just filth, disgusting, unrepaired equipment. Now, some people do still have to go in there to maintain the infrastructure of certain supports and areas, but those people get paid a lot and don't expect to get, survive. Because there's a lot of gene labs down there that have now gone broken, and who knows what you'll find. Imagine wandering around in a thick jungle knowing that you're being hunted by something. That is the inner core of Strawnrith. Something is probably hunting you in there. It is a wild urban zone. Shame we didn't go into it. That would have been fun.
But for context, because I don't think I've explained this, the entirety of Ultion's ideals come from the very strict, unyielding ideas he developed as a child with no like adult context to how complicated things are or how things change over time and any of that. He was a grown man that was locked into a singular idea from a young age. And it doesn't help that he never left the city until he was in his 30s already, so pushing 30.
Yeah. It was a fun one to explore.
You guys want to talk about the next campaign? Maybe give some teasers?
Little bit of a teasies for the next little mini. We're focusing on Snozzboop, so we're heading back into doing another time skip backwards to visit one of the Hand and their journey.
Heck yeah, deep. So let's not spoil the characters, but I think we should maybe spoil the classes that we are. I think that would be fun.
Oh yeah,
Let's just say.
there we go. You can spoil a little bit of maybe their origins, like what continent they're from. Because we're now in an era where continents matter. So you suggested it, Ethan. You go first.
Oh yeah, let me pull up everything. That way I don't forget nothing, but I can tell you right now for sure that I am playing a barbarian. Cause you gotta, cause nobody else was. We needed some sort of tank in the group.
That's what BT is.
Oh yeah, you still are playing BT, aren't you?
Yeah, but he's not that big of a tank.
That big of a tank. I dealt so much damage to him in both of the minis and didn't down him. He's a tank.
You got very close.
He's a tank.
Got it in my notes. Ah yes, he is from the Shallows estate. If the folks at home will remember last campaign. And just a little hint, I think this is good enough. Already knows Julian.
Yeah, that's a good hint. Already knows Julian, the guild leader of the Three Watchers. Previous No, I won't do any reminders on there, but he was in the first campaign too. In the Chalice Estates, that's where we all first encountered his character.
Oh yes.
Snosboop is still Snosboop.
It's not spook.
Oh,
Consistent.
Or
You know,
is
yeah.
if anything.
ET
Well,
still
he-
ET.
yeah, he's sort of consistent. He is becoming more chaotic as we've moving
that
along
bloody
here.
lemur.
Yeah, but yeah, still a pacifist. Still wanting peace. We'll see how that goes. I honestly, at the very beginning of this campaign, I thought like Ultion's character or somebody else would just kill him. I thought he might make it
Why?
like 5 sessions and then get executed or whatever. So going like the full distance on this pacifism is not what I expected, and so it's like, okay,
It's like
how
you
do I
expecting
resolve this?
you expecting Ultion to do that is like expecting a New Yorker to like notice when someone's being weird. You know?
It's just natural.
It's just everywhere where I grew up. So
Maybe we'll
about-
So
go for it.
my one is multi-continental, and she's a bard. But
Oh,
not
yeah.
so much
They're
with
from
the music.
Coila
as like a
originally.
bard.
a word bard, if you will.
More of a spoken bard.
I mean, technically, bard is a general enough term that I think you could even incorporate in some sort of homebrew any of the arts, really. It doesn't have to be musical, or it's just any sort of artistic thing.
Poetry is an art.
Interesting.
Painting is an art.
Stories, paintings, drawing.
Interesting.
It's a general enough term, I think.
And they say multi-continental. Originally, where they were born.
And you have to go to college for it, you know? So
True.
Exactly. So yeah, from Coila, early adulthood in Andrea, and now we're in Iridai. So she hops around.
Been to quite a few places. Has an idea of 3 different wild cultures now.
Vaughn, last one.
I am playing a character from the Globshak Schwarmsch.
Schwarmsch.
I'm a sorcerer.
Oh, Miss Moneypenny. Sorry.
Oh, Miss Moneypenny. That's-
Globshak Schwarmsch.
All right, Sherlock Holmes, not Sherlock Holmes, Sean Connery. There we go. Gosh. Which is near a eye. One of the locations we'll
Yes.
be going to. Yay! I get to throw you into another environmental pain. Woohoo!
Indiana, let it go. Sorry, I can keep doing
Let
Sean
it
Connery.
go,
That's-
Indiana. Let it go.
I think the
Indiana
campaign,
was the dog's
the
name.
biggest challenge we're probably going to have is Tangerine taking her knowledge of certain things inside a book that Teflessa has and forgetting them. Because her character doesn't have those details.
Ugh.
I know.
Except I need to remember that I don't actually know
Yeah,
the drama of it all.
different character, different information bases.
Hmm.
There's a lot of juicy
Oh, yeah.
things I put inside that book that Teffie got about the Glob
Mhm.
Shacks that she doesn't know anything about. But you're all going to be traveling with someone who does know stuff about that. So it's just going to have to be a different
Gosh.
player asking, do I know about this? Because if Tanj asks, I'm going to be saying, no, you don't.
That's always the hardest bit.
Yeah. It's gonna be a fun one. I'm gonna enjoy it at the very least. We're gonna have a hoot going down some diplomatic side of things. There's going to be a lot of fun lore details getting dropped too. Give you all that little hinty hint as well.
And we'll be back for the recording at least 27th, right? That's the plan. Skipping the 20th.
Oh, that's details we'll talk when we're not recording.
No, I was just trying to give the folks at home a time in which roughly that episode will be.
Oh, that one's going to be
Begun.
May 4th.
May 4th. Okay, perfect. Oh,
Yeah, we'll be
hey.
starting that campaign on May 4th, which we don't give dates because this, guess what, is going to be coming out after May 4th.
Oh. Okay. Well, never mind.
This
You've
is why we
already
don't
watched
mention
it.
dates.
Sorry.
You're going to have a ready.
I thought, I
finished.
don't know, you'd put it
So-
in between in the
No,
off
it will
week
be.
in between.
It will be in
I-
between. It will be in between. So this is also, again, we're going to save my explanation for that after we're done recording, because when we're
Yes,
recording, we don't
when
put
he's
dates on
alone and
things.
nobody can interrupt him.
Uh-huh. But we don't we don't explain things in recording for date and time wise, because we don't really fully know what date or time these things will be coming out. I do, but
All
they
right, so
don't.
forget everything I said, folks.
Except
I'm just
also,
a dumb
I'm
idiot.
also we do
Sometimes.
talk about the date because I'm very pedantic about knowing when things are actually happening.
In
For my
world,
little
yeah,
notebook.
in world.
Available on the Map Store.
Go do it. Check it out.
Yes.
Any final thoughts, comments, especially on the overarching theme, predictions on how Schnozzboops is going to tie into it? Because it is going to tie into it. They're all going to have
think
the
we're gonna
same
have to-
element.
I think as much as you guys are convinced that this is going to be a lot of talking, I'm pretty sure I did the right thing in creating a barbarian, because I'm pretty sure it's not going to go exactly the way we expect it to go.
That's why
So
we
I
have the
might
sleep
have
spell.
to, crush some demon skulls together,
Well, I did have a question, I guess, for Ethan.
Mhm.
To go back. So obviously you had sort of set it up for Ultion to be in this situation where he takes out his enemies, and you were sort of ready for that to happen. Are you sad he's gone?
No. This is probably the first character that I'm not sad is gone. I'll miss parts of it, of course, but I specifically created him to die. Specifically. There's no emotional attachment did not get quite as far as it did with Yurlandril before and Dragon before that. Probably because I subconsciously did that on purpose. I don't know. But I knew what it was going to be. I knew it was going to be a brutal character that I didn't always agree with. But I knew it was going to serve a very big purpose no matter how it turned out exactly. And I really love doing that too, Murray. I really love shaking stuff up in his world, like fundamentally shaking things up.
Gives me a lot of
So,
work.
which I don't mean to do more. I just love the look on his face sometimes when he's like, oh, like, man, I've got a lot
Alright.
of stuff to work
Go on
through.
Okay. This changes everything. Nice.
But that's because he's down to my characters, my beloved characters before. This is my revenge. You nearly killed me a couple of times, all right?
Yeah, Draken has a scar, a permanent
Mm-hmm.
scar, where he can no longer grow any scales
I was
in
only
that area.
the only reason why we were able to pull off that resurrection spell too is because William literally bought those diamonds that day. Like, that's the only reason why I got.
It wasn't even
So,
my fault. They put themselves in
been
that
take- I've-
situation.
I've been taking it out on him ever since, folks.
I killed his most beloved character once. They even got resurrected, and still I'm.
I love you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I am
Any other?
secondarily, I am curious with the Snozboop route, like he is like fully committed to pacifism. And so if we get, you know, to a situation where pacifism isn't gonna work, and maybe we won't, I'm just curious on how
How it's going to
that
play
will go.
out.
Yeah, just with
The RP is going to roll down to it. I mean,
yeah.
you've got some bruisers, you've got some fighters who are going to be present, but how is it going to ultimately going to affect everything with a pacifist really pushing for that sense of peace? And with especially like the side mission of what Snors has been handed inside the hand, having been asked to look deeper into the influence and play demons and devils have in the tariff and positions of Iridai. Because they've already been a problem in other continents. Like, Quayla's already dealt with their issue with them. Like, that's already come and gone inside the course of the 36 years. It's starting to come out in Andrea, but in a different way. Very much different way. But we'll start getting into all those little details when it comes up inside Schnorsby, because right now it's fairly unclear to a certain degree, because you've all had examples of ones that are not looking to take part in the major events of what's happening, and significant enough evidence as it stands to suggest that there is a whole faction of them that is helping whatever's going wrong in Iridai. And that's kind of what Schnorsboop is looking into. So, I already told you all, there is the potential of genuine peace, and some good deals happening from that. But we'll see. It's all going to depend on dice rolls, because there will be deception and persuasion checks.
And that, my friends, is why my barbarian has a very high deception check.
That was always an issue with Prologue. He couldn't lie to you that he was about to chop you in half.
No.
No, I'll lie to you. I'm going to be like, on the count of 3, I'm going to punch you in the face, and then I'm punching you on 1. that's the kind of character I built.
I have a side question that I just thought of. I don't know how the world works in this way, because generally speaking, it seems like the primordials would be everywhere, but we've only really seen them in Iridai, I think. Are they like in Andrea? Are they in Quayla? Or is that secret? Okay.
They have been. They potentially will be. I'll give you an idea here. Pestilence was reborn in Eremathus.
I don't know. Where's that?
That's a whole different continent that you all aren't allowed to touch. Yet. But quite a few, actually, of the primordials who were no longer trapped in the archipelago were reborn in different continents and have just been traveling here, called by the general course of what's going on and the feeling of something major is about to happen and we need to be present for it. I mean, that's why Mr. Keys showed up in Iridai, and he wasn't actually even going to be showing up unless you all rolled that specific roll. There was a very limited chance that he was going to show up. And he did.
Old Kiefer Sutherland.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Well, folks at home, merch store, Twitch, Discord, YouTube,
comments below.
all the social medias.
Check out the description.
All that stuff. Do it.
Do the like. Do the follow.
Goes right back into all of this stuff.
Yep.
Makes it better.
Into our equipment, what we use, and how we do it. Makes the whole process easier.
Oh yeah.
Well, we've been to the cold, frigid mountains of the Nork Ranges, to the wonderful desert and the tiered cities of Grantina. Now we are going to be going to the swamps and the hectic cityscapes of the state of Optula, which are a whole different animal. So much fun.
Oh yeah.
Till then, though, hope you've all been enjoying the Hands' journey so far and their little mini quests. They'll be back together soon enough. A few months' time. Those of them that are left. It might just be Teffie.
Now, why would you say that?
Teffie and pieces of BT. Maybe Schnozzboop will die as well. I mean, we're 1 for 1 right now.
That would be fun. I had.
It would be fun coming from the player.
Well, like I had when I originally made Schnozzboop, I was like, all right, I'm gonna support Tefflessa Catan's leadership in this group, and she's going to lead us into victory or whatever. And then it didn't really work out that way. But if we're all dead, and it's just Tefflessa Catan remaining, she will have to lead us, and that could be fun.
Natural
No.
leader.
I hate
Natural.
making decisions. Don't
Well,
do this to me.
You're pretty geared up to be the one to make the decisions at this point, so good luck.
Oh no.
As for the rest of you,
No.
hedge your bets. How's it gonna be? Is Snarzoop gonna live through their journey, or is Snarzoop gonna die of old age? Who knows?
Oh god.
Yeah, we're back to having those
What if
rolls.
he has a heart attack first episode?
I am gonna
What if he
laugh
dies
so hard
First episode.
if that happens.
Do we just cut after do we just halfway through the laughter just cut and then
So,
we release a very
that
short
episode is done for today. We gotta figure out what we're about to do. Oh no.
But we still need to accomplish the goal.
Yes. Oh, what would Chaos do? Oh. Right. We'll see you all later.
Bye guys. Bye.
Joke's on you, Chaos. Bye.
The air may have closed for now. We hope you met a friend this go around. Tired and blurry you may be. We hope your minds are full from this revelry. May peace follow you out. May you return for more giggles and shouts.